Booster packs. This was a big thing that happened Friday. They were like, by the way, we're changing how boosters work. So, everybody knows right now we basically have like 4 types of booster packs. We have set boosters, we have draft boosters, we have jumpstart boosters, we have collector boosters. And Magic came out and said, we're done with that now. Starting with their first set in 2024, which I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Chat, help me out.
It's a Murder at something mansion.
Yes.
Karlov
Yep.
mansion or something.
Yep. So, with
Sorry,
that,
I'm so blasé about this. Is because I'm just like we had this product already.
so they're getting rid of it, and they're going back to now. Back in the old days, we had only one thing: booster packs. That was it.
Booster packs.
Starting with, I want to say it was either Kaldheim or Zendikar. They were like, we're going to separate it. There will be draft boosters, which is for play, and set boosters. And here we go. Now they're saying, we're done with that now, we're going away. So let's quickly kind of run through the reasons why they're doing this. Set boosters eclipse draft boosters. This is what I talked about on my TikTok last night. The reason they're getting rid of draft boosters is no one stinking buys them, right? I am certain that the distributors are sitting on pallets and pallets of draft booster boxes that game stores won't buy because no one buys them. The only thing we use draft boosters for is draft.
Literally what's on the package.
That's it.
And they did it to themselves.
Okay. It causes inventory problems. Yes. This is absolutely true. Again, when we do an initial order for boosters, we say, hey, we want this many set, this many draft, this many collector. Now there's just going to be one type. We're going to get our 10 to 12 boxes of collector boosters for our people that really like collector boosters, and they're going to keep those for the whales and the people that really like those products. But now it's just booster packs. Now I don't got to worry about, oh, hey, did we order enough draft boosters to get through the next 3 weeks worth of draft?
So I think it's important, I don't know if you have the image up and ready, but like they are also, it looks like they're kind of redesigning how the packs are going to work themselves.
Yes.
To
and
all encompass.
I'm going to pull that up here in a couple of minutes. Let's see if I can find.
They're shifting the contents of the packs. It looks like they're going to be a lot more reasonable after the restructuring. As somebody who used to play, like somebody who started around Portal and then got back into it heavy in Invasion, like I have been used to the idea of just booster packs. Like I actually stopped playing heavily right before the split or the new stuff was starting to be developed. I think Eldraine was the last set that I was really, really heavily into. So that might have been like right after the split, but like when I started seeing like the like the collector's edition stuff and all this other stuff coming out for like the Kamigawa sets and all those things, I was like, oh, that's cool. There seems to be a lot of products I have to pay attention to now as a consumer.
Yes.
And that's never a good thing. Where I have to figure out which of the 5 different packs that I want to buy if I want to pick some up, or if I'm an adult wanting to buy some for my kids or something, and then like I don't know which, of the 4, it's like the Xbox problem right now, where it's like, which of the 4 Xboxes do I freaking buy? Like, which of these 4 packs do I buy?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about what's coming in the packs. So this is the new pack. Here you go. In this,
what's up, man?
Instead of a 15-card pack that a draft boosters, it's basically a 15-card, but it's really a 14-card pack, okay? You're going to have 1 to 6 commons. Slot 7 is something from the list or another common. 8 to 10, so 3 uncommons.
And break it down real quick while we're on the list. What is the list for people that don't know?
The list is high-value reprint cards from older sets.
Okay.
Right? 1 rare mythic rare, a basic land, which comes in every draft booster pack anyway. A non-foil wild card, which could be all kinds of stuff. And then a foil wild card, which is guaranteed to be a foil, but could be a common, uncommon, or rare, or mythic rare. Basically what this will do is it will make the packs slightly better than a draft booster is now. Not quite as good as a set booster is now, but it will have more cards than a set booster, right? And it will allow you to continue to have limited play.
Yep.
right? So that you can do draft and limited with these cards, right? People in the chat are saying, the initial reaction was outrage. So a lot of the anger that I've seen is from people who draft, and they think the draft is going to get more expensive because these are going to be roughly the same price as a set booster, right? That's not going to change the cost of drafts that much. The difference between a draft box and a booster box is about $12 per box to us. I would say your average draft is probably going to just go up to 20. That's what it's going to be. So there's more stuff, and they're basically just breaking down what's coming in.
And like they have to have information on what people are spending the most time playing, right? I'm just kind of looking at the comment here about like the 14 playable cards instead of 15 for what little that's worth. But in my mind, they've kind of done the math for that, the vault or the the list or whatever, and like have found that people are probably playing enough of the formats that they will find those cards to be playable in some way or another.
Yep.
So I'd imagine like they've probably sat down and done the calculations and just found that like even if it is 14 cards that are playable, there's probably more value for people in these boosters than they're initially seeing right now.
Yeah, well, and again, what it is there's more value than what comes in a draft pack now.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because a draft pack count comes with one rare or mythic rare. That's it.
And when we're talking like a 50-cent per pack difference, I would take these, of course.
Yeah. And again, it is going to make it easier for the stores to do this.
And that's the big thing. That is the big point that we are getting to here is, holy crap, this is going to help us out so much. Oh my gosh. Because I was chuckling at your TikTok where you're literally talking about how draft boosters don't sell. And right behind him, I don't know if he did this on purpose, but when I saw it, right behind him were the draft boosters that we just can't fucking sell.
Yep.
They were just sitting there. And it was like, to exemplify the point, here you go. They don't go anywhere.
To everybody who's frustrated with Wizards about this stuff, and we'll keep touching on this point, they get to dictate the market, right? They get to decide what is best for Wizards, right? They're going to do what is best for Wizards of the Coast. Yeah. And I'm really going to touch on this in the D&D section, because a lot of the discussion I see in the D&D stuff is what they're doing is not good for the community. I'm going to, and again, I'm going to get a little salty here. I'm going to break this down for you guys. They do not, overall, they do not care about the community. Insofar as, if it doesn't make them more profitable, they don't care. Right?
I mean, that's the unfortunate nature of it.
Okay? They have shareholders and executives and things like that to answer to. That's what they care about. Okay? That's just the facts. Okay? I don't think this is a bad product. I think it's a pretty good product. I think it is going to make it a lot easier. And here's the thing. It's the dominant thing out there. People are going to buy it. This is not going to cause them to lose customers.
As a Magic player that left before all the new stuff came out, and somebody that spent a lot of time playing back when they were just draft packs, or back when they were just booster packs.
Yep.
I'm totally cool with this. It is funny to me that they are calling them play boosters specifically, and not just like dropping all of the nonsense attached to it in general and then having one special tier. I guess that is because they want to have the collector's boosters and all of that nonsense still. But it is funny to me that like somebody out there then had to come up with yet another product name for them going back to essentially their original product. And that is hilarious.
Pretty much. There's very little difference between this and the old booster packs, right? Again, it's a little worse than a set booster. It's a little better than a draft booster. They're literally splitting the difference and ensuring that they've got something that works for every type of format you're going to want to do, for the people who are just buying to collect and for the people who still want to play draft. That's what it comes down to.
So I see the secret layer. I'm going to spin in a little bit of positive. We have some dope secret layers coming out. There is that comic book, like the zombie comic book secret layer that's dropping. We have the Evil Dead one that's dropping. We have the Princess Bride one that's dropping. Like, those are just hits, man. Those are hits.
Tamadachi brought this up in the chat, and actually I touched on this yesterday. That is the one area where I think you're going to see the biggest price jump is pre-release. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Because pre-release is 6 packs, and if they're doing pre-release with play boosters, my guess is pre-release is going to go up about 25%. 15 to 25%. I don't think it's really going to scare people away from pre-release that much.
So when was the last time there was a PAX price change? Like an inflation in the price of PAX? Eldraine.
Yeah, because I'm not counting Commander Masters, and I'm not counting Lord of the Rings.
No, like the normal packs that are not going to cost you.
Eldraine's really where they kind of had a pretty decent sized jump. I think it was probably about 10%.
So this is probably, this feels about right for the market then. Like, we're on a new Eldraine, we're past the new Eldraine set, so that means we're a few years out from that. This makes sense in the way that they're increasing the price, and with them basically releasing a new product, it makes sense that they would do it right now.
Yes, and I don't know how much it's going to jump. Again, we won't know because Murders at Karlov Manor, which is, I just checked, it's in the article, is the first one that will have it. If Murders at Karlov,
it's going to be a while.
Yeah, it's 3 more months. Murders at Karlov Manor is where we're going to see the first set of pre-releases, and I haven't seen price lists.
Yeah.
For Karlov, for what pre-release kits are going to cost. I have no idea. Again, I would guess probably about a 10 to 20% increase. Instead of 35, there'll be 45. I think it's probably going to be somewhere between 40 and 45, which, again, not terrible. If they stay, to answer Dogdead's question, if they stay with set booster pricing, set boosters will cost between $4.99 and $5.29 at retail ballpark, and it's 14 playable cards. The problem, and this is the other thing, is a lot of people are going, well, it's this much. There's no MSRP. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So how much a set booster costs, like, when they say it's going to cost the same as a set booster, that's a signal to the game stores more than it is to the consumers.
Yeah, because it's really just telling us that it's the Wild West out there as far as pricing goes.
Yeah, so
it's all over the place.
It's still going to be the Wild West out there as far as pricing goes because there's no MSRP, which is bad. And we've talked about this a bunch of time. Yeah, there's a lot of random good stuff. I think you're going to have play booster packs. Again, I think it's going to hit the dopamine hit. Because I think every 3 or 4 packs you're going to open something, there's going to be something super neat in that wild card slot. Mm-hmm. And people are going to be like, oh, that's freaking cool, And it's stuff that you would never see before. So as far as how much it's going to cost, again, it indicates to us how much a box is. The other thing that we don't know is, I don't know how many packs come in a box anymore, right? Because right now, set and draft are different. Draft booster boxes have 36. Set booster packs have 30 or 32, depending on the set. And who knows? I don't know how many packs are coming in a box yet.
Do you think this will change the amount of, do you think collectors packs will change at all? Do you think this will change the amount of collectors packs, or that stuff will fluctuate?
No.
That product's probably not going to change at all.
Nope. Again, aside from Lord of the Rings, they tend to be pretty static in price. They're expensive per box.
I mean in the because the boxes of those, do you think they'll come with more? Or do you think they'll come with less? Because I know for a while they were experimenting with putting less in.
Yeah, they did a couple of those limited ones where they only put 4 packs in a box, which was, quite frankly, just stupid.
Because it was the same price and people were not happy.
No, they were really, really upset about it. No, I think we'll stick with the 12-pack boxes for collector boosters. I think they've learned their lesson for the most part. I wonder if RCQs will be draft rather than sealed. Most RCQs are constructed. They're usually Pioneer. You do see some draft, and you are allowed to do draft or sealed for it, but I see more RCQs as Pioneer.
Wait, so how are they... Oh, man, my brain just caught up with that. How are they going to do that shit without the judges stuff?
Academy. No one knows. And
okay.
So
I guess that's an answer.
to answer somebody about that, obviously we have an in-house Magic judge.
Yeah.
We work within the store. He comes in for Commander Nights and for our major events. And Judges Academy is this. Magic has said we are basically disaffiliating from the Judges Academy. Now, to be clear, the Judge Academy and Magic were separate organizations, right?
Yeah.
And it was just basically recognized by Magic that that was the thing, right? The reason everybody kind of got a little weird about this one is that it was very sudden, right? It was very, very sudden, okay? October 13th, they are no longer partnering with the Judges Academy. We appreciate their work, things like that. Judges Academy sent out an email to their judges and said, yep, we've ended our partnership with Magic. Based on what I'm seeing, it looks like this came from the Magic side, not the Judges Academy side, right?
Do you smell an internal sort of judge situation happening over there?
I'll be honest, I have no idea.
Because like seeing what I've seen lately from them, the products that they're developing feel like they're pulling everything in house, and I say that because of the online Magic camera setup thing that I don't know if y'all were using it, but we were talking about this recently, where like Wizards was beta testing a literal camera and a program.
Yeah, it's Secret Table.
Secret Table very recently. So I'm wondering if there's just more of these little internal things that they're trying to pull this stuff in, and then maybe they'll start their own judge thing. Maybe they'll start doing something like, because they have to have somebody there for these events, like at least on some level, right? For like the bigger tournaments, like the qualifiers and stuff. Or is that a maybe? They just
so the funny thing is when you apply for an RCQ through DreamHack, right? One of the things that DreamHack says in their documentation is they cannot legally require you to have a judge.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
They cannot require a judge at an RCQ or a thing. However, they say, we highly recommend you have a judge, right? And nobody with half a brain would run that type of event without
a judge.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
Because the community's not going to show up for it.
No.
Right? That being said, it was all volunteer, and they kind of did their own thing. How much they got paid or compensated and things like that depended on the convention or store or things like that. And it was exceedingly inconsistent, right, for the judges. So I don't think that Wizards got rid of this because of any sort of lawsuit or anything recent, right? Again, I haven't seen anything recently that would indicate there was any sort of legal jeopardy or anything like that that caused them to do this. I think that they're just repositioning everything right now. I don't know if they bring judges in-house. I doubt it because that's a huge expense.
Okay.
It's a huge, huge expense, right? How much would you have to pay? How many employees would you have to pay to cover the number of events that are run weekly all over the world?
So what about just for your major stuff? I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking is like the stuff we see on stream, the big things that matter.
MagicCons and stuff like that.
World Tour, like whatever they're calling it now.
Could be. Again, the biggest thing is that this was sudden. Nobody got any warning. And there's no immediate replacement. And that was the other thing too, is everybody kind of went, there's no replacement. Right? Because they didn't follow up this announcement with, and this is how judging will work going forward.
And surely they can't think the Gatherer is going to provide all the information that we need during some of these instances. There's got to be like something. Like, and I don't mean in something of like they got something in their back pocket. There's like, what triggered this decision? It's super weird. Nobody knows. But like, what do they expect?
Especially since they didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, what do they expect the players to do when a lot of this game comes down to sentence structure and nuance on the card and what's happening on the stack and like all that other stuff. As a longtime Magic player, there's some weird shit that can happen in Magic that you just need somebody to be like, no, it actually works like this sometimes. Even because you may have a misconception of how the card works, or it might function differently when it actually happens in this instance. Like there are important moments in Magic that you need this for, and Arena Like, there's no like arena bot that's gonna follow people around and you can like reference it, and like it's just my brain can't comprehend getting rid of your people that regulate your events. But I have been watching them slowly chip away at their tournament structure, so I don't know. Maybe this is just the next step in removing all of that.
Somebody in the chat said they wouldn't be shocked if Magic Fest turns into Command Fest and competitive play goes away. Magic doesn't make any money on... So Magic does make money on competitive play because their competitive players buy a lot of product.
I mean, to stay competitive, you buy a lot of product.
You buy a lot of product to stay in the competitive scene.
And they don't care where that money comes from, because most of these players, even if they're sponsored, they're still spending that money to buy the product to be able to get into the next tournament, to get into the next format, to whatever that looks like. Even if they're sponsored, that money's coming in.
And somebody was like, I think they're going to cost because Commander's the dominant format. Commander doesn't need judges. I would disagree, because I think having a judge for our Commander nights has been exceedingly helpful.
Oh my God!
Multiple times.
Well, because when you're playing Commander, it's literally it opens the whole game up to everything under the sun.
Yeah.
Your interactions get so wild in that game.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't necessarily think that that's the case. Again, they weren't paying for this. There was no little to zero cost to Magic to have judges through the Judges Academy.
Yeah, there's a comment in chat: when I was in competitive play, I'd buy 6 to 8 boxes each release, and then singles. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I've seen people burn through so much. It's wild going over to competitive Magic players' houses, and they're just like, all right, well, here's the stuff that I needed from this set, and then here's an entire kitchen table's worth of shit that I'm never going to touch because it's not competitive in this format right now.
Yep.
We're not at a place where this matters. So there's just like binders and stacks and cards, and just like they resell the bulk or whatever, and it's crazy how much money goes into being a competitive top-level player in this game.
Somebody in the chat said they don't need to be an official judge. You need someone who knows the rules. So the reason you have official judges is the same reason the NFL has referees, right? What the Judges Academy and what judging and a certification proves is you've done these steps to prove that you know the rules to this level, and you are continuing to learn the rules as they go, right? It's legitimacy, because I'll tell you, I've heard stories from competitive Magic players, and I've talked to people where interpretation of those rules and how the judges' rules affects the competitive scene.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It can mean the difference between a bad beat and not.
Yep.
It's been a big deal. And again, I think the biggest thing about this is, again, no warning and no replacement. So we're gonna have to wait and see.
And no ban list.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. They've dropped all of this news. Wizards is in a fucking run right now. Just dropping Judge Academy, no ban list, right? Changing of the Magic stuff, right? D&D's dropping Penguin Random House, which is another thing happened in the 2 weeks we were off stream, right? Which is the largest distributor to big box anywhere. This is where Barnes & Noble gets their books, Target.
Right? Well, before we shift too much to the D&D, we got to also remember Troll and Toad just dropped Magic.
Yeah, they dumped them.
Since we're still on the Magic topic, they literally said it's not profitable enough, and Troll and Toad, one of the largest online distributors of card and board games across the internet, just dropped fucking Magic.
As of January 1st, they're done. Goodbye. I'll be honest. Wizards.
I wonder if it'll change with the announcement of these booster packs.
Hey gang, here's a ton of stuff all at once that will piss you all off. Here's the thing. I don't think that was their intention. I think this actually comes down to something that we talked about way early in the year when all this stuff was happening with the OGL and everything else. Wizards needs a better comms team.
Oh my God.
Desperately.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay.
Whew.
Wizards desperately needs a better comms team. From the OGL thing to the Creator Summit, what that was supposed to be, to all of this stuff, right? Right now, what you can see, and it's not just Magic the Gathering, it's Wizards, full stop, right? Which is a big portion of Hasbro's business. Wizards is repositioning for the future of tabletop gaming, and I'm putting that in air quotes, as they see it. Okay?
They see it digitally, don't they?
They see it
They see it very digitally.
They see it very digitally.
You're seeing this with like we talked about, the camera setup, play Magic at home. You see it with D&D, OGL license, all of that
push
shit.
to Arena.
Yep.
D&D
Oh,
Beyond.
and then yeah, the D&D on the Magic Arena. Yeah. I mean, that captures your mobile market. You got your PC market, and then you got your pauper that just can play their physical card game if they want to on a camera. That's what they see.
Somebody in the chat saying, "What does the MTG community say? Enough is enough." I will tell you this: at the same time that D&D players say enough is enough, and that is never. Okay, I'm gonna get a little grumpy here.
Take your soapbox.
I love and despise this industry, but I swear to God, if I see another customer come in here and tell me that they're going to shift their patterns and stuff like that, no, you're not. No, you're not. Just do me a favor and stop. When the OGL thing happened, it lasted like 2 weeks where I had people who came in and asked for stuff that wasn't D&D and everything else, and within weeks, everybody was back to Dungeons & Dragons. Okay? The content creators. So many content creators I saw saying, I'm going to start covering other things because Wizards and D&D and blah, 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 blah. And it lasted like a month. Mm-hmm. Okay? Every content creator I talk to, every one of them I meet with. Yep, when I go away from D&D, my views drop by 20%.
Or more.
Or more.
It's substantial enough.
Here's the thing. Aside from the very online portion of the market, first off, most of the D&D playing public does not know that half this stuff is going on. They don't pay that close of attention. We do because it's our job, right? Not only as a store, but as a content creator ourselves. This is our job, right? It's not going to wreck Magic the Gathering. It's not going to wreck D&D. It's not going to wreck any of it, right? The fact of the matter is that unless people mass abandon all of these hobbies, nothing is going to change. Because at the end of the day, the only way it would change is if somebody came in here and fully disrupted these markets. And we've talked about it a bunch of times, and I said it on the TikTok. You need somebody who's got $50 to $100 million minimum to light on fire, okay? Where they don't care. They're not going to get an ROI for 5 to 10 years, okay? That's what they're doing. Don't come in and be like, well, it's the collapse of everything. Here's the thing. Their stock price is in the toilet right now. Absolutely. It's down. And I am certain that there are very uncomfortable conversations happening at Wizards of the Coast right now. There are people with C's in their titles who are coming down and going, what in God's name is going on down here? Mm-hmm. Right? And I'll tell you right now, it has to do with their comms team. It has to do with the fact that their comms team is bad, right? And isn't communicating, right? So all of this stuff looks like a bunch of radical shifts in their business, and their customers don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? And it's scaring them. Now, at the end of the day, what I think is probably happening there is, and this is what I would say if I was a mid-level executive at Wizards, don't worry about it. In the two areas of our market, there is nobody, and I mean nobody, who is competitive within spitting distance of us.
Not even close.
Okay.
And we talked about this. Not even close.
Not even close.
And the people that are close enough, the people that are large enough giants, the people that might even be bigger than them, they're not going to, while they're, making waves when everything is working just fine, they're going to let Wizards be the one that takes the brunt, goes out there, tries to change stuff before they do. We're talking about the other big dogs in the room. We're talking about the Pokemons of the world. We're talking about anybody else that can make that sort of waves. Why would they? Why would they jeopardize anything?
Yep.
Let them get out in front of it, and they'll just sit. Whatever trend happens, they'll shift. But they don't have to.
Yep. Absolutely. And this is exactly what I would be telling the people at Hasbro. Don't worry about it. We're going to come out with their new boosters, and you know what they're going to do? They're going to buy them.
And we're going to call them Play Boosters.
Okay? And we're going to shift D&D to primarily D&D Beyond. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to subscribe. Aside from events that we're doing, I'm no longer interested in 5th edition. Good. I want people to try other games, right? And not just the one that go out and try other games. Please do. Please do. Hasbro's the new big tobacco, except they're not lying to us about, nicotine being an addictive substance. Hasbro, Wizards is going to do what Wizards is going to do, and it doesn't matter. Now, that being said, I think it is going to be a really interesting 2 years in tabletop gaming. Right? I really am curious what's going to happen with the not new edition of D&D next year. Right? I'm really curious what's going to happen with Magic and the way that they're doing their set releases. You're watching a market shift right now. And I don't know where everything's going to land. But it's interesting. Again, the next 2 years for tabletop is going to be really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. Somebody else brought up the chat that somebody had a YouTube video saying that 500 million times people have been saying, this is the end of Magic, and it never is. It's the end of D&D. No, it's not.
We should just start a series that every time they do anything, we just put out a video that it is like, this is the end of Magic. This is the absolute final part. We could just wear little A-frames, just have the end is nigh on it or something.